Minister, how much have you been paid by Navis Group?
Mr. Barrett, that is a matter that took place while I was a private citizen, and those issues, if you want to find out how much I made as a private citizen, I refer you to the Ethics Commissioner.
What are your holdings of the one numbered company that you have, 2050877 Alberta Limited?
That is not my company.
Do you have a numbered company?
I do, and when I was working with the Commissioner of Ethics to wrap up my private affairs to become a public official again, they indicated that I should use the legal name of the holding company, which I did.
So you do have a numbered company?
Yeah.
I do, but it's not the one you mentioned.
And you have a trading name for that company?
I do not.
So what's the legal name of the company?
2256956 Alberta Limited.
So
Okay,
he was
and what
off by
does
a
it hold?
number.
It holds investments.
Does it have any interest in the Navis company?
No, it does not.
It's the health
Do you have draw income from that company?
health one.
I do not.
Mr. Barrett, I remind you, but I'm going to give flexibility because both sides strayed on this issue. The only ones that stayed to relevancy with Madame Chabot and Madame Zarillo on the matter
Shush,
before
Robert.
the committee. But the minister did elaborate. I understand the rules, Mr. Cooper. Mr. Barrett, you have the floor.
So 2256956 Alberta Limited, does it or did it on the GHI, Global Health Initiative, the pandemic supply resale company? Does it own that?
It has. There's shares in that holding company.
There are shares in that company, in GHI? Okay. So since you've been a minister, have you received any payments from Navis Group?
As is declared in my conflict of interest and ethics submission, yes, and that was organized with the conflict of interest and ethics.
Okay, so let's just back this up, because Mr. Cooper asked you the same question, and I'm asking you the question. And I asked how much you've been paid, and you said, well, none of that happened since I was a minister. So there's a bit of confusion here. How much have you been paid since you've been a minister by that company?
So Mr. Barrett, I'll give you an example.
He's
There
caught
is,
up
Mr.
here.
Chair, some thinking here that I have had one client. Westminster Foundation for Democracy was a client.
We're not asking
Global
about your
Equality
clients.
Caucus was a client.
How much?
The United Nations Development Program
Just the number,
was a client.
please.
The Black Gold School Division was a client. And Mr. Barrett, I'm going to respond to you here. There is pardon?
Xenex?
Xenex is a company. It's the other company that I own that is also dormant. It's also wrapped up and fully disclosed. And let me be really clear. Part of the reason that it indicates that
Minister,
funds
the
are
question
owed to
was
my
how
company.
much. The question was
Michael,
how much. This is a really long story to just tell
No,
me
it's not.
how much.
The
How
United
much?
Nations Development Program still owes the company funds, and that's 2.5 years later. So that is why you see the declaration. And if you want to understand how much money I made as a private citizen,
I want to understand how
then
much
you
you're
can
getting
refer
paid
to
by
the
this company while you're a
Commission on
minister.
Ethics.
A question which is not relevant to what the committee is meeting for today, and this committee met.
Shush,
at length
Robert.
to set
Everybody
its
else
agenda
has
for
asked
today.
this question.
But you're appearing as a committee
Even
member
Liberals have
today,
asked.
and
NDP have
you
asked this
do
question.
have the
Everybody
right to
in this
direct
committee has
questions
asked this question, and
in
he won't answer it.
relevancy. If you're going to continue, I will then ensure that the minister has a chance to respond, should he choose. So, Mr. Minister.
Answered that question before, Mr. Barrett.
No, you haven't.
This is it's really unbelievable, because you haven't answered the question, and it was the answer you gave was a complete non sequitur to the question that was asked. You
Barrett,
have
that's
a
not true.
duty to arrange your private affairs in a manner that prevents a conflict of interest. But in this case, you arranged your private affairs in the manner of in the matter of $110 million federal grant to a federally regulated organization with federal government representatives on its board,
Mr. Chair,
to which
Mr. Chair,
they benefited monetarily.
He's
That is
asking a
not true,
question. You
Barrett.
can't
I'm
interrupt
going to
him.
give the minister a chance to respond to a question that is not
I haven't
relevant.
finished asking the question.
Well, listen, I made it.
I can't answer a
asked,
question that's full of
the
falsehoods,
minister
Mr.
And
Chair.
he interrupted me throughout the
Yes,
question.
and
Because your
you're,
question is full of
you're
falsehoods.
questioning in an area that the rules of the House adopted
Oh,
is
shush,
it's
Robert.
really it's black and white. And Mr. Barrett,
Mr. Long was allowed to proceed on a line of question that was favorable to the minister. my questions just because they're uncomfortable for the minister. I think that
Yes, and I agreed to let him go, providing you let the minister respond.
But
I will ask the minister
I didn't
to
finish
respond.
asking the question.
Thank you.
Okay, then finish your question, Mr. Barrett. Quickly.
Minister,
No,
did you participate
he'll take
in
as long as he
funding
wants.
announcements for this organization from a company that you are still cashing checks from?
No, Mr. Chair,
Well, that's not
I
true.
am
You just said yes.
Minister for Alberta, and if there's an announcement that's happening in my province and I can go to it, I will go to it. At no
Even
point
if you
since
got them the
Mr.
money?
Barrett,
Even
Mr.
if you got
Barrett,
them the money and then got paid
that is
for it?
not true. That is simply not true.
Minister, the opportunity very quickly and shortly, because this is going to end. We're going
Sure.
to move on. Your time has gone by.
I
I've
don't
allowed
believe it.
you
I
to
have-
stay in the question.
Mr. Chair,
Minister,
to be
wrap it
really
up
clear,
quickly.
crystal clear, I have never had line authority to provide any funding to the Edmonton International Airport, or quite frankly, any of the clients that I mentioned. I've not been Minister of Transport. I've not been Minister of Prairies Can. Will I announce something that's in my region that supports a major airport for the jobs? Absolutely, I will. No monies were transferred, and that grant went to
Thank
the
you,
Edmonton
Mr.
Airport, not a
Barrett.
company in
Thank you,
question.
Mr. Barrett. Thank you, Mr.